Israel is striking back after Iran was striking at Israel and their positions in Syria. Back and forth we go. To former assistant to the Secretary of Defense, Mattis, Amber Smith. Amber, it's very, very good to have you. There's so many things I wanted to bring up with you, and as an author too, with Danger Close. This idea that we might be going it alone on this Iran thing, and you know, your old boss, the defense secretary, apparently has been very quiet on this, but he has supported that Iran agreement. Support isn't maybe the word as much as concerned about, you know, abdicating it. What do you make of that? And the fact that at least it was something, and now we start from scratch. We anger, agitate our allies. You've heard all of this, but what do you think of that?
Well, even this morning, Secretary Mattis said that he thinks that the United States leaving the Iran nuclear deal opens the door for better negotiations, so a better deal. And I think just what we've seen in the recent days is that President Trump's decision to leave the JCPOA has really emboldened the rest of the Middle East to stand up to Iran. Under the Obama administration, we saw that Iran was emboldened not only to amp up their military infrastructure and equipment, but also their geopolitical influence inside the Middle East.
But Amber, didn't the defense secretary say that as far as he knew, there was no indication that the Iranians were cheating on it, that the IAEA and others had, you know, and he's no fan of Iran, of course, I'm sure you're not either, but there was nothing to indicate that they were cheating on this. So obviously you support the administration's view. He's a defense secretary, he has to do that. But he's one of the few I can think of right now who isn't saying much on it.
Well, and Secretary Mattis has largely stayed out of the spotlight since day one of this administration. It's just his style. He's not interested in being a spokesperson in the media. He has the largest government agency to run inside the U.S. government. As you know, there are hotspots all over the world. The United States military is involved in multiple continents across the globe. So he has one of the hardest jobs inside the administration, and that's what he's focusing his efforts on, and I think quite well since day one.
With the Israeli response to the Iranian response in Syria, is this, you think, a preview of coming attractions?
Well, I think it is a dramatic shift in what we are seeing with foreign policy, especially inside the Middle East. I think that even just in recent days, since the president has made the decision to remove the United States from the Iran nuclear deal, you are seeing nations inside inside the Middle East being emboldened to speak out against Iran. We saw Bahrain this morning speak out publicly in support of Israel's right to defend itself against Iran, which is absolutely fantastic that they are able to speak out publicly and feel that they are able to do that, and will likely have support of other Middle Eastern nations behind them, because they all, regardless of how they feel about Israel, they all share a common enemy, and that is Iran. And they have seen how Iran has attempted to spread their influence inside the Middle East to become a dominant power inside the region, and most of the Middle Eastern nations are fed up with that. And so when they have seen Israel respond the way that they did after they were attacked directly. This is the first time that Israel has been attacked directly, not through a proxy from Iran. I think everyone is rightfully pleased with Israel's response to the attack.
And as you and I have chatted in the past, I mean, keep in mind that no one in the Middle East, no one in that neighborhood, and you know your neighborhood, signed on to this Iranian accord in the first place. So we talk about not upsetting our European allies, but those in the region, not a one was a part of it. All right, so thank you very much, Amber. Great seeing you again.
You too, Neil.